Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome my friends. How are you doing? Welcome to my channel. My channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. You know, I realized when I take a look at all my videos that I've done recently is that I've not really reviewed pens independently for some time. Just showing you that there wasn't much out there to begin with. And now all of a sudden I've received a bunch of pens. So stay tuned, folks. En français, we say attachez votre truc. In other words, put on your seatbelts, but we're going for a ride here. And today I got a beautiful pen to suggest and to review for you. A pen that I saw on AliExpress, and I hesitated somewhat because of the price. And then I found it on Taobao for a lot less, and I'll explain to you how I managed to find this pen. And you know what? It's turned out to be a real winner. So, without any further ado, Fountain Pen Therapy presents the Tangmoon, and I believe it's the D6, although I'm not sure. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back. First thing, if you go on AliExpress, you'll find the Tangmoon D6 with the ebonite finish that goes for roughly... Okay, so we're on the site of AliExpress. Now, what's deceiving is the following. You see this is the one version. This is the acrylic version. Acrylic or resin version of the pen, which is $80.99. The next one, this is a peak. There's kind of white peak material. It's $100.99. But if you buy the ebonite finish, similar to the one that I have, it's $210.68. That's why I hesitated to buy this pen. If you add the 14 karat gold nib, it's $266. If you add the Bach, it's $210. Their TAGMOON nibs, one of them is $210. The other Cologne is $210. So basically $210. So if you want the ebonite, it's $210.68. There is another site that sells the acrylic version, which is this one, at, what is it, $66.38. And I guess you get a generic nib, I'm not sure, but it's $66.38. I might actually go for one of those generic, or one of those resin ones. So we're talking about $210. Now, let's compare that to Taobao. Now, here we are. We're on the Taobao site. You got to be careful because if you click on that peak version, it's $238 Chinese yuan. And Chinese yuan, or I keep calling them yens. So $238, if I do the conversion, I'm sorry, here we go. 238 gives me $48. That's for that peak. So 48 plus shipping compared to the $81 on AliExpress. Sorry, if we go back here and we look at my pen, it's $5.98. If I go to the converter, currency, $5.98? It's $121. Let me just make sure it's $5.98 or $5.38. Sorry about this. $5.98. So it's $121 plus shipping, which wasn't much. But you got to be careful because it's offered with no nib. No nib means you've got to put in a box section nib, which are not expensive. I still think that it's still a deal. You can also get the resin version. Where is it? At $178, which is roughly half of the price. No, it's about $40. Let's see, $178 gives me $36 as opposed to $66. So you got to calculate your shipping. Mileage may vary depending on where you are. You go through it and you go to the cart, then check out, see what the shipping costs you. But I think you get a much better deal if you buy that Ebonite pen on Taobao as compared to AliExpress. So there you have it. Now we can go and actually we'll see the pen. So here's the box it came in. You can see Tangmoon there, and I guess it must say everything else, the D6 portion, all in Chinese, that I cannot read. It comes in with this very simple packaging, nothing extravagant, a little kind of a felt pouch here. Take out the pen, here it is. This is one of the Ebonite finishes, folks. Beautiful, just well done, very smooth. It's a magnetic cap, as we shall see. Now, we'll get to the differences between AliExpress and Taobao in a second. There is the Tangmoon logo, I believe. This is in the gold finish. I think you can find them also in silver finish. The clip is almost too stiff to use, but it's got kind of a pointed up, so you can probably slide material underneath there fairly well. You'll see on the barrel Tangmoon, is there a D6 somewhere? I don't see a D6, but this is what it's referred to. You've got also the bottom, nice ring at the bottom, kind of a gold finial here. Very nice, very nice. I got to tell you, good size, good weight, magnetic posting, so it comes out immediately. Let's take a look at the cap. I see a kind of a plastic insert with step downs of all kinds, so I suspect that this nib is going to be fairly well protected and should not have a dry nib issue. However, it's not a screw-in, so you have to kind of rely on that magnetic closure to properly seal. I'm assuming that it works. We shall see. We'll revisit that. Now, to my great surprise, when I got this pen, it had no nib section. And if you read the Taobao description of this Ebonite version, you see that it comes without a nib. Luckily, it accommodates box sections, and I have plenty of box sections. So if you have box nib sections, feed and nib, or at least the feed and the section, then you're fine. It screws in right there, not a problem. In this particular pen, I put in this box, simple box, no branding whatsoever, nib with the feed, Works fairly well, but I just noticed my feed is slightly off-centered. Let me just put it back there. Okay, so it worked out for me, but a Bach nib will go for anywhere between $15, so you're going to have to add that and then compare prices. At the end of the day, is it less expensive or more expensive than AliExpress? I'm not sure. I got to tell you, I'm tempted to buy the other, now that I know how good this pen is. I might get the other version of the Tangmoon D6, which is in the acrylic, much cheaper. And it comes with different types of nibs, and I'll order it with the nib for roughly $45, $46. So there you have it. That's the pen on the outside. Take a look at that beautiful. I think that this ebonite, it's a little similar to some of the ebonite that you see on the special edition 630s or 600, I believe they call it, from Wing Sung. This is the way, I guess, the Chinese like their ebonite, which is very, very smooth. It's not a totally matte finish. It's more of a shiny finish. Good weight to this pen. In terms of inside, take a look at this size. Very good. It's got a little flare on the section here with a gold trimmings everywhere. Does it post? It posts, but extremely back-weighted. Yeah, very back-weighted. This, I've got a feeling there's maybe some metal here somewhere, or maybe it's just the top here, and the round makes this pen fairly, or this cap fairly heavy. And we'll take a look at that in the measurements later on and the size comparisons. But you don't really need to post it. It is a cartridge converter. Does screw in with a O-ring right there. You're talking ebonite to metal, standard converter, nothing fancy there, but very nicely, got a nice tight finish there, sits in your hand very, very nicely. Yeah, and there's got to be a little bit of weight here, so that's what's creating some of the weight in the cap, I got a feeling. But there you have it. That's the pen. I think we've reviewed the pen on the outside. Now let's take a look at how it writes and what kind of a writing experience I get from that. Of course, you can put in whatever nib you want. I was thinking about perhaps putting a titanium nib in there, a Bach titanium nib. I may do so in the future. Right now, I've got kind of a generic Bach nib, and we'll see how that writes in just a few minutes. So there you have it, the Tagmoon D6. We're going to do some size comparisons, and we'll be right back. Okay, I've got quite a few pens here that I'm comparing it to. Some I'm comparing because of the ebonite, and others because of the overall shape. But as you could see, when you compare, this is my favorite ebonite, Chinese ebonite, and it is, in terms of finish, it is comparable to the Asvine. Different color, of course, but it is comparable. I prefer this one. Look, it's comparable to this one as well. I've criticized this ebonite. I just don't find it has the same depth. This one is kind of an in-between. It's not as nice as the finish that you have on the Asvine, in my view, but a little bit nicer than the J16 ebonite from Asvine. So there you have it in terms of finishes. Now, I did put my D6. This is the gold nibbed version, just because they refer to it as D6. As you can see, the Tangmoon is a little bit longer. In terms of girthiness, I think this one is a little bit girthier. Here is the the N25 with the snake finish, or the N24. I keep forgetting if the snake was, no, 25. I also have a Jinao 100 or Century. You could see that it's bigger, kind of similar, kind of duofold design, but bigger than that. And I've got my D5, Qin Dynasty as well. As you could see, the Tagmoon is bigger. So it is quite a big pen. So there you have it. We're going to just show you the pens uncapped and unposted. Okay, so here are the pens unposted and uncapped. And as you can see, the Tangmoon is bigger than all of them except for the Asvine C2000 in Ebonite. But let's keep in mind it has a number 8 nib, which may explain why this one's slightly shorter. But otherwise, as you can see, quite a big pen. Nice girth, nice length. I'm not going to do a comparison of the pens posted because I don't believe that this pen should be written with posted. It's just too back heavy. So, or back weighted. So there you have it. Though that's a comparison of the pens. We'll put up some measurements and then we'll get to the writing sample. Be right back. Okay, so we're back. Let's take a look at the ink. First of all, the ink I put in this pen is this brand new ink from an independent ink maker that I featured in one of my recaps. Inkforge Works. Inkforge is the name, the branding, and the ink is Studio Ancient Ivy. I really recommend this ink, or these inks. He's got all kinds of categories. You've got the studio, the classic, you've got the radiant, etc. Different, in other words, just classic straight up inks. Some that have some sheen, others that have, shimmer. Beautiful green ink. There's the cost is, some people might say, a little expensive, but you have to keep in mind the outfit is just starting out. He's doing this independently, but the inks are superb. They just, in my view, they're worth every penny. So there you have it. That's the ink that's going to go in, or it's that went into this pen. The paper I'm using is Wonderland 222 notebook. Wonderland 222 notebook. It has Tomo River paper, and I believe this is one of my older versions, so it may have the actual Tomo River number 8 and number 7 machine Tomo River. So let's very comfortable. So this is the Tangmoon D6. I forget what they call this finish, but I'm gonna say kind of blue, green, yellow. The nib I have on this is just a generic, what I suspect is a medium number 6 Bach nib. The ink is Inkforge. Studio. Ancient Ivy. Okay. Now, I'm not testing the nib because you can put whatever Bach nib, but this Bach nib is just fine. Okay. It writes actually, I would give it like a 9 on 10. It's not very flexible like most Bach nibs that you'll find on the market are fairly stiff. And we're not really evaluating the nib in this pen, but I would say the comfort level of this pen is 10 on 10. I really like the section. So I think we can look at likes and dislikes, given that the nib is just a Bach nib. Okay, so for likes, I like the design. The build quality is just excellent. Everything is well integrated. There's no pieces sticking out. It's well made. It's a well-made pen. Design, the material is wonderful as well. That ebonite is really nice. I also like the fact that ebonite is on the section, which makes the pen. I mean, there's very little point in getting an ebonite pen if it doesn't have an ebonite section, because it's the warmth of that and the feel of that ebonite that makes ebonite special, in my view. Material. The value is excellent as well. Is it a go-to pen? Absolutely. So value 10 on 10 for the price. Okay, for a pen of this quality, very difficult to find, I think, in less than and it costs you less than $100. Dislikes, I would say to you, posting is an issue. The clip is not very flexible. I'm not even sure it's functional, frankly. It's just a bit too stiff, but you're going to have to kind of just slide the material underneath there, I guess. But other than that, folks, if you were looking at this pen, you may want to buy it from AliExpress, maybe pay you just a few more dollars, but you have a choice of nibs. So I would go with AliExpress. Then if you have nib sections that accommodate Bock nib sections with all kinds of nibs, like a Bock titanium nib, then maybe you want to save a few dollars and you'll buy it from Taobao. I don't know what's left in terms of finishes. I know there's an orange finish, a red finish, a darker blue. And then, of course, you can save money, almost half the price, and go with the acrylic resin because the pen is very comfortable. And I may just order that one just because I would want to do a comparison in one of my recaps. So there you have the pen. We've got the Tangmoon. Yes, we've got another Chinese pen to recommend to you folks, which I'm excited because there's not that many coming out. I don't know what's happening with everybody else. They're either bankrupt, closed, shut down, or riding high on what they've got already, and they got to get rid of their inventory. But there you have it. I like the Tangmoon. I had another Tangmoon, Cologne, kind of an inspiration or a dedication to the cathedral in Germany. Very nice pen. Little bit, it gives me some dry nib issues. It doesn't last very long if you don't write with it. I'm going to see what this pen does, and we'll revisit this pen in one of my recaps sometime soon. We're going to let it be, and I'll write with it for a week or two, and then we can maybe come back and stay tuned for that. Okay, so I hope you're enjoying your pens, your ink, and your paper. Fountain pen therapy for all of us, folks. Got some pens coming. This is just one amongst many. Take care.